Oh, it's Joe.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Thank you so much for all coming together this evening. It's wonderful to see you. We're so happy to be here. We are so happy that the Cherry Center has invited us back a second time for a second cup of coffee. We loved being in Carmel. It was 7 years ago already.
7?
7 years ago, yes, 7 years ago. And it's good to be back. I think Robert is going to give us a first tour, a first look of the actual exhibition in the gallery.
Oh.
Robert?
So welcome. It's good to see you all. Thank you so much for coming and attending the virtual reception of the breakfast group. I hope you have something to eat and drink. We have a fire here, so it's warm, and we hope to see you soon. Of course, Donna was here a little while ago, and though it's better, it would be better to see you in person. We're really glad you're here, the breakfast group, and it feels as though that the artists represented in this exhibit are really magnificently aligned with the Cherry Center's mission, which is to provide a venue for programs, exhibits, and theater productions that attempt to cast a light on contemporary issues, both aesthetic and social. We're also remain a home for new and emerging artists, writers, and playwrights. For 70 years, we've been presenting art exhibits, plays, workshops that support creative expression on the Central Coast. I'd like to thank the Arts and Worm, who proposed and helped organize the first exhibit, and then also this second helping from the breakfast group. I'd also like to thank the artists themselves, whose work can be seen as on these really difficult, challenging times. And we've had visitors already over the past couple of days who've seen the work and are really excited about it. And so thank you so much for participating. And as you know already, the exhibit can be seen in person, online at the Cherry Center's website, or during regular gallery hours, which are now Wednesday through Saturday from noon to 4 p.m. or by appointment. And actually someone is going to be here on Sunday, so feel free to call if you can't come during those normal exhibit hours. We're here Monday through Friday. So now I'm going to give you a brief tour of the gallery and of the breakfast group.
Oopsie. Oh.
So I know some of you have not been here before, but this is the Carl Cherry Center, which was a home in Carmel that was built before 1900 and was the home of nom de plume Jean Dorge, and she was a poet and became a painter in the late 1930s. So we're going through the front door, the main gallery. This is what you see is when you come in through the front. First here we have Lynn Fisher's paintings right here. And then if we scan over, we have these two paintings by Lauren.
Excuse me, I'm going to ask everyone to mute if you're not actually the speaker, because otherwise we won't see Robert's camera.
And then, of course, this is one of Joe Slusky's sculpture here. Wonderfully whimsical sculpture. And then now we're moving over to this wonderful piece. Whoops, by Sandy Walker here. And then this wonderful wall that features Nancy again and in the front. And then the title of the exhibit up here. And I think these go together wonderfully. Really nice to see this work together. Then we're walking through the main gallery. This was the living room of the Cherry Center. And this served as really a salon for Mrs. Cherry, and she would have teas and harpsichord performances, and then it turned into a gallery space, which we use primarily now. And we come over to this wall here, and the painting on the right, and then this other really wonderful sculpture by Stan. And then Katie's paintings here. Be nice to linger on each one of these, but we've got a nice program ahead. And in the meantime, you can come down to Carmel and see the exhibit anytime you like. Another piece by Joe Slusky here. And then these three pieces. And this one piece by Robert Simmons here. Have a little section here that's devoted to photography. And you look back here, this complements this wall, this sculpture complements this wall really nicely. And then one more photograph here by John Friedman. Give you an entire tour of the Cherry Center, but we don't have time, so I'm gonna turn it back over to Jan Worm. But this is a sampling, and so we hope to see you. Please come down, and we'd love to have you here. And this is the main room. So, thanks so much for being in this exhibit, Jan.
Well, thank you so much, Robert. This is really wonderful and thrilling to see, even at a long distance. It's always exciting to be able to see the work up close. What we really experience as artists for the most time is our work in the studio. And what we have for you this evening are a series of videos. And I'm going to start with some screen sharing. And because the technology is a little slower when you do it all yourself, I hope you'll bear with me. But I'm going to start screen sharing now. and go to the first video. So I'm going to show you 3 videos first. The first one will be Carol Ladwick, followed by Donna Fenstermaker, and then Nancy Gann. So, oh, excuse me, that's not so. Carol Ladwick, Donna Fenstermaker, and then Lynn Fisher. So those are the 3 that we're going to start with. And here we go.
My name is Carol Ladwig, and this is my Oakland studio. And the painting, that one is one that's in the, you'll recognize it's one in the show. There's also a smaller work, which is a jelly print, which is created in my home studio, which is in the basement. All this work is part of a series called Time and Place. The works behind me were created or started in my Berkshire studio, which is in the middle of a forest. And 4 of them were finished in my Oakland studio. They are made with acrylic paint. They are made unstretched, and then I stretch them when I get back here. They're part of a series called Time and Place, which the focus is on the environment, the time of year, memories, and a sense of place, expressed through color and line.
Thank you, Carol. Now we're going to go to the next video, which is, sorry. Donna.
Hi, Donna Fenstermaker here. Welcome to my outdoor studio in Berkeley. My indoor studio is in Oakland, but haven't been there during this COVID thing. Anyway, welcome. I am so lucky to have an outdoor area where I can paint, table, cool, sometimes cold, you know, Berkeley. Anyway, I want to show you my outdoor studio. It's breathtaking. And of course, now you can hear the noises of the traffic resuming as crazy people travel about. Anyway, this is what I get to look at. And as an artist that's inspired by nature, here I am. I feel like I'm in a little treehouse, smack above the city. Not that far above the city, but anyway, it's gorgeous. Thank you.
Thank you, Donna. And here we have Lynn Fisher.
I'm Lynn Fisher. This is my studio. Come on in. It's an old one from 1991. That's it. Hope you enjoyed the tour. That's a Joan Brown print.
Great. Okay. So that was a wonderful little view of some of the studios. And I hope that Donna has just rejoined us. Donna, are you back on?
Yes, yes, I'm back.
Great, great. I'm sorry, while I was screen sharing, I couldn't do anything else. But I'd like to ask you, and I'm going to ask all the other artists too in turn, but could you just give us some little insight, direction, something that has come to your practice that's new during this period, something that helped you get through this really difficult and stressful and challenging time so that you were able to continue with your work, push forward, reimagine how life in the studio would be?
I think for me, probably contemplation, space for contemplation, and yard work. That has gotten me through. And then working in the yard. So the video of me is in my, what I call my front studio, which is a table outside. So that's what it's been for me.
Thank you. Thank you. So we're going to go back to screen sharing again and to some other videos. We're going to see 3 videos now. We're going to start with Nancy Gann. And we're going to look at Nancy's studio, Joe Slusky's studio, and then Katie Hawkinson. So let me see if we can get to. There we go. Hi, Nancy in the studio.
Hello, I'm Nancy Gann, and this is my studio in Berkeley. Happy to greet you and welcome you. These are the 2 paintings that I selected to take to the exhibition of the Breakfast Group that will be in Alameda. The Breakfast Group is a long time group of starting with breakfast early in the morning by the UC campus professors at the art department. So we have a legacy that is very important to us to uphold the standards. My work that I selected are 2 of the same palette. I think they go well together. One is from the Patagonia series of the waterfalls from a trip that was several years ago to the bottom of the earth. And the other is from the Rainbow series. And it's self-explanatory, I hope, but the horizontal lines are a repeated pattern that has been in my recent works.
Thank you, Nancy. And now, oh, sorry. Now, now's when I wish I had more fingers, more hands. Okay. We are in the studio now of Joe Slusky. And we're gonna see his, whoa. What happened? I'm sorry. Can you see that? It's disappeared off my screen. There we go. And then we're going to take a look at Katie's studio. And for, see if we can get this enlarged. Sorry, there's Joe again. Here we go. Katie's lovely work. Well, I don't think I wanted that music to end. I could stay there a lot longer. So I'm going to ask Katie if you might be able to sort of give us some idea of something that you were able to use and draw inspiration from, and some hope and could find to light your way during this period of time in the studio and in your work in life.
I can. Hello, everybody. I have always been a gardener, and my studio opens into the garden, and I've always gone back and forth quite freely between the two, but I had a lot more time to spend in the garden this spring and summer, and was not commuting to teach. And I also, initially, the work that I have in the show was based on some fabric that I have, a collection of various pieces of fabric, mostly belong to my grandmother, old scarves and tapestries, and many of them somewhat floral. And I use them for still lifes for my students. And I wasn't going to school and making still lifes for them, but I was photographing still lifes that I would set up. And I realized that I wanted to paint them. I'd been providing them for my students for all these years, and I wanted to re-own these fabrics of my grandmother's, and just was so happy. You know, the one piece of hope and light was having things that would grow, feeling so fortunate to have home and studio and garden all in one, and being able to grow things and see beauty, and think back on when not able to be with family and friends, that I was thinking about my grandmother and my mother and the people who taught me to cook and how to garden. And so that's how I was connected. So I've been painting flowers.
So wonderful, beautiful. Thank you. We're going to go back to some other videos now, and bear with me another moment. We are going to see 3 videos. The first will be Kim Thoman, followed by Lauren Raybach, and then John Friedman in the studio. So here's Kim.
Hi, I'm Kim Thoman. I'm part of the online exhibit, and I'm here in my studio in Oakland, and I'd like to show you a few works. Here are 2 paintings that I call embellish paintings, similar to the works that I have on in this exhibit. Each of the paintings are framed in a welded steel, and then there's welded steel bits attached to the outside of the frame. Many people assume that I do the painting first and then the welded steel second, whereas in fact, I make the sculpture first and then add the paintings. So come on around the corner here and I'll show you a sculpture that's waiting for its paintings. So these are a new series that I'm working on called my One Wing Angel series. And the sculptural portion is complete. And of course, it's waiting for its 2 paintings. Now come on over here and let me show you what I have been doing during isolation period. I have been embellishing mechanical toy bugs. And if you see here, there are a number of them. Tabletop. And they've been great company while I've been isolating.
It's so great to see all these new works that are added to our repertoire. And here we have Lauren. Lauren, who's actually left us from Berkeley and moved to Napa, but still drives back to have breakfast with us. So we're getting a really good sense of all the music that everyone likes. And now we're in the studio of John Friedman as he prepares a mat. So John's photographs are, let's see if we can get that removed, are meticulous and careful. And as we watch this video, we'll see just how careful and meticulous he is, just even with the matting process. So I'd like to ask Lauren, since we just saw his idyllic location in Napa, if you could talk a little bit about what has given you strength during this period, what you've turned to, or what you've taken on that you might not have done otherwise to meet these challenges.
Okay, I wanted to mention something from the last time, from Joe's video, which I just love the music. I love Joe's work, but I really like the music. It's one of my favorite pieces of Debussy's Burgomaster Suite, which usually they only play the third movement of it, and the first movement is just delightful. So when I heard that music, I brought, I have the music, but I play everything at half speed. And I just got really into the first movement playing that. So for me, music has always been a part of my work, and some of the work I did some time ago when I was playing the piano, I was playing mostly early pre-Bach, 16th and 17th century music, and a lot of my pieces were named after those genres, like Gavotte and so on. So, and a friend of mine who got the picture of the painting that's in the show in the Cherry Center said that it reminded him of Steve Reich's music. And I thought that was a very, very high compliment. And I would take that. And if you're not familiar with Steve Reich, listen to his music. And so for me, it's just always going back and forth. I happened to hear Joe's piece, so that got me into the Debussy, and then it goes back and forth. So I'm just always kind of in tune with music and the art. They all kind of work together.
Thank you, Lauren. Thank you. Okay, so we are going to look at some more videos, visit some more studios. We're going to be going to the studio of Sandy Walker. Then you'll get a view of my studio, and then we'll end with Stan Hunselman's studio. So in some ways, it's quite a tease to have just a little bit of each person's studio here. Okay. Hello, I'm Jan Worm, and during this time of a global pandemic, sheltering in place in the studio, there is plenty of time for reflection. And recently I've been thinking about a painting done in the past of the saying, hear no evil, see no evil, speak no evil. And certainly something which I chose to represent, not with the humorous monkeys, not the, Cerberus, three-headed dog guarding the underworld with our passage and judgments and all the unknowns that we face at critical times. Bright bright primary colors, red, yellow, blue. They stand there and they bring up all of the questions of subtlety and evasion, qualifications, and then they get processed in the admonition to speak no evil, and even the three-headed monk who verges on that desire, that pushing out, that hopefully getting out the word, but remains enigmatically silenced, all that control, and all the things that we seem so lacking of in this period. I hope that viewing these paintings will stimulate a lot of thought for you and reflection in these really difficult times, and that we can all meet the challenges together. Thank you. And here is our final video. Let me get this a little bit larger for you all. Here we have Stan Hunselman.
What I'm doing today is when I made these chairs originally, I only made two, and I want to make two more. So I'm going to be working on duplicating these rings that go inside, I guess, the skeleton of the chair, armature. And so what I do, I have a piece of pipe, different sizes, that I wrap metal around, coil it, and I make those, and eventually I'll weld them, and then I'll start to build the whole thing. And the next version chair, I'm also going to use a wood.
And that's all, folks.
Well, okay, there we have a sense of the breadth of work and interests and all the ideas that everyone is bringing to their work. So thank you all for making those videos for us and sharing an intimate view of your studios. I would like to speak with some of the other artists from the show, and so I was wondering if Joe, maybe you could come back on and talk a little bit about something that has sustained you during this period. Joe?
Oh, well, what's sustaining? The work, I mean, has always kind of, you know, helped keep me sane, or has been a point of centering, you know, from which I can negotiate reality. But I guess in a way I've kind of, the studio where I do all the welding, I've kind of been concentrating. The studio shot you saw there was, you know, where I do a lot of, it's from home. It's where, you know, I'm painting a lot of things. So I was kind of just concentrating on some loose ends. The two pieces that are in the show as part of a series of pieces that were done actually a few years ago, but I've just gotten around to painting them. And then there's some panels that are in there that I've been doing these kind of, in a way, they're like sculptures. They start off as just a sketch and then seems to mimic the process of making a sculpture, additive and subtractive. And yeah, I've been just sort of listening to a lot of kind of, you know, books on tape while I'm working, and some music. So, you know, it's sort of helping me, you know, get through everything.
Thank you. Thanks so much. Carol, would you like to unmute your mic and give us a little insight into just what's sustaining you with your work right now?
Working smaller. The work in the show is made, which wasn't clear from my video, was made with a jelly plate, which is originally, it's called that because it was originally made from Jello. They originally figured out a way to use Jello to make a print, to make a plate that you could use for printing. And then they've made a chemical concoction that mimics that. But mainly just talking to friends, also being outside, walking, thinking, and sort of trying to figure out what the transition is. It's really sort of been a pause in my work. I normally work much more a large scale and long-term projects, and that has come to a halt, and I'm focusing more on small works and things, and I'm trying to figure out what direction I'm going in. So that's sort of where I am at the moment.
Thank you. Thank you. I was wondering, Sandy, if you might come on and also just point to something that has really been important for you during this period, something that you could speak to.
Well, I'm reflecting actually because of this, looking at the painting that I offered up and my studio, realizing that a really big difference for me once the virus hit is that I've worked very regularly with models for a lot of years. I draw once a week for a model and in a group and work with models. And my painting is very much, the painting in the show is very much about a particular model. And that's a painting that I worked on for about 2 years and was able to complete this year somehow. And so I guess what I'm reflecting on the fact is that I've been isolated, cut off from the models. So that's not been a part of my practice since whenever it was, February. And that's a big change. And I do miss the interaction, the stimulation that they provide, but it's helped me to just move on and to work without that, and from the resources that I've gained from all the years of working with those models, to whom I'm incredibly indebted. We have a great model community here, and I'm actually quite worried about their personal survival.
Yeah.
Without work.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, Sandy. Thank you. I was also thinking now about Phil and his work, and Phil is a photographer, and Phil, your work happens outdoors, out in the world. So what kinds of changes have you had to cope with, and how have you managed with that in terms of your work and your continuation?
Well, one of the things that I've been doing is been going through older work that I put aside for years, and thinking that there'll come a time when I can actually work on this. And I've started going through those images, and I'm really excited about the images that I'm finding and reworking what I had started on back then. But the thing is that, it's 10, 15 years later, and I'm a different person now than I was then.
Yeah, interesting. Interesting. How is it meeting up with your former self?
I like him.
Good.
I don't mind myself now either. So something that I have been doing in the office is throwing things out and reorganizing. And I've reorganized my office to the point that it is now, what I'm doing is organizing the head of a pin. And I can't find anything that I organized.
I always remember where I used to keep something.
Normally I have a database that I keep in my head where I can find things again, but somewhere along the line the cache got overwritten.
So Nancy, I know you're there too, and I know you were having a problem with connection. Are you with us right now? Can you get the mic, Nancy, and let us know how you're doing?
I hope we're here. Are we here? Can
Yes,
you
we
hear
are.
me?
We can hear you and we can see you. So how have you been managing? What have you taken up to sustain you in this period of time?
Well, I was in Inverness when I stayed there. I never came home. I wore the same clothes for 2 months and it was just fine. I was in nature and I have a studio, which is a garage that has never seen a car. I just took it over when we built the house and it was just and in time, I didn't have a place to go. I didn't have to be somewhere on Tuesday or Wednesday or Thursday. And I suspect that is a gift that we've all enjoyed. So I have been painting and appreciating the time, are continuing in this time of being careful.
Wonderful, wonderful.
Is that enough?
That's perfect. That's perfect. It's wonderful to see you and hear from you. Edith is here.
Thank you.
So on, Edith?
Yes.
Oh, great. Hi, Edith. We've missed you.
Oh, I've missed the group so much. I can't tell you how much I enjoy seeing everyone. I miss our Friday morning coffees more than I can say. I just will be so happy next year when we can all get back. And for me, getting through this, gardening has been something that has helped me tremendously. And we are lucky at the co-op here to have a rather extensive garden. In fact, it's so overgrown, it's driving a lot of us crazy. But nevertheless, I have planted a lot of lavender, which I dearly love. And I stopped working for a while. I had a few issues I had to take care of. But before that, I was working on monoprints of ginkgo leaves. I adore the ginkgo tree. And the ginkgo tree, as I understand it, is one of the oldest trees on Earth. And they don't have, they live longer than redwood trees, actually. They are a marvelous, marvelous species. And the variety of their leaves and the shapes of their leaves are so beautiful. And so that's what I've been doing.
Well, thank you. We were sorry that that you weren't able to reprise this exhibition that we had in Carmel 7 years ago and come back, but maybe in 7 years from, 7 years hence, who knows what we will all be doing. Maybe we'll be back in Carmel again. And certainly one of the great joys of our time in Carmel last time was to be able to actually have breakfast inside the galleries with everyone,
Right.
with our friends in Carmel who are on this this Zoom with us. We're so glad that you could join us, and we hope that you'll be with us for our virtual breakfast next.
Oh yes, I plan to be.
So I hope that we'll all come together again, and we'll be able to show and tell with some work or some books we're reading, the music we're listening to, the things that are keeping us going and that we're thinking about. And I'm so grateful to Robert for having put up a beautiful show, yet another beautiful show. And Robert, do you want to perhaps, I know there are people who are guests that you know here this evening that we don't know. would you like to?
There's faces I recognize, and it's good to see you all. And I just wanted to say how the show, it looks beautiful here. And we've already had people that came in actually after Donna left and remarked what a stunning exhibit it is. So I just wanted to thank you all so much for participating, and particularly for Jan, who really organized this and did this beautiful video. So thank you all so much. And I just have a question for Katie, if that's okay. What was the music?
Oh, that's Bombino, B-O-M-B-I-N-O, and he is a Tuareg from Africa.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
Great music. It's great music. And what I really loved about all the music in the different studios was how I felt that from one music to the next, I would be doing different work listening to that music. And that's really exciting and stimulates the imagination for wanting to like go into everyone else's lives for a little bit. I hope that we'll be able to gather again a week from tomorrow, next Saturday, and we'll all have a lot of hot coffee with us. It'll be in the morning at 10 o'clock. You can use the same link for Zoom. You can invite friends. You can share that link with others, and we'll just be very cozy and comfortable on a leisurely weekend morning. I did want to say one other thing. We have a wonderful catalog. Donna has done her magic as she has with each of our exhibitions. So there's a document that, that is obtainable that will have all of the artwork in the exhibition reproduced. And I hope that you'll have a chance to see it in the gallery, and it's available. And I think that's about all that I have to say this evening until I see you all again. Except thank you very much. Stay well, stay healthy, keep safe.
Thank you.
Thank you. So wonderful to see you all. Just wonderful to see you all.
Thank you so much, Jan.
Thank you, Jan.
And thank you, Robert. This has been really delightful.
Robert.
Thank you for putting this together, and hello to Priscilla. Thanks for coming.
And Edith, so good to see you.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Can I leave?
Yeah, please.
Bye-bye, everybody.